Hey, good morning, guys. This is Mr. H. Hey, I wanted to do a quick video to help you get started with the quadratic, finding key features of the quadratic function handout that I gave you. Um, First thing you should see on my uh, on my iPad is I have a image of a quadratic. You guys have seen quadratics before, but I wanted to focus on a couple of the key features that you're looking for. First thing you should notice is that this is a smile, which means that it has a positive leading coefficient. Um, Other thing that's important is every quadratic is going to have a vertex, and vertex just means the lowest point or the highest point. Sometimes it's called the minimum, maximum. So anytime you see the vertex, that means it's either going to be the highest point or the lowest point. In this case, it's the lowest point. Another thing that you should see is that every quadratic is going to be symmetrical. And so it has what we call an axis of symmetry. So the axis of symmetry is basically a vertical line that splits the quadratic perfectly in half, and it always goes through the vertex. And if you wanted the equation of the axis of symmetry, it's always going to be x equals whatever the x coordinate of the vertex is, that's going to be um, the point that you use for the axis of symmetry. The way I used to think about it is axis has to be spelled with an X. So whenever you're trying to come up with the equation, it's got to be X equals. Two more things you should notice. Every every quadratic is going to have a y-intercept always. And no, let me restate, not every quadratic has to have an x-intercept. They usually have an x-intercept, but they don't always have to have an x-intercept. Um, and x-intercepts are basically where they cross the x-axis. So every quadratic has to have a y-intercept, but it doesn't necessarily have to have an x-intercept. I'm going to give you a couple other names. Sometimes they will call the x-intercept a zero. We've heard that before. Um, so in this case, this quadratic has two zeros. Sometimes you will also hear it called a root. Um, so so they use these words interchangeably. Sometimes they say zero, sometimes they say x-intercept, sometimes they call it root, but you should know that these are all the same thing, and all it means is this is where the quadratic crosses the x-axis. All right. Now, so what we're going to do is what I want you guys to do is I'm going to give you 8 quadratic examples. I want you to fill in the blanks. There's several questions down here that have blanks. And I also want you to use this graph paper to create a graph. So I'm going to do one example, and then you guys complete the rest. So the first thing you should notice, we have a function. It's called 2x squared plus 2x minus 4. First thing I notice is the leading coefficient is positive. It's a positive 2. Leading coefficient is positive. So that means that it's going to be a smile, which means that it's going to have a minimum because the vertex is going to be at the bottom. All right. So now, what else can I say from here? Well, from here, I'm going to take my calculator and I'm just going to enter this function. And then I'm going to use menu 51 and I'm going to come up with these other points here. So watch what I do. So let me grab the calculator, go to the graph part, and I'm going to enter it 2x squared plus 2x minus 4. All right, so press enter, and there's the graph. Let me put some menu 223. Let me put the lines on here. So I can see it has two x-intercepts, two zeros, two roots, whatever you want to call them. I can see the vertex is down here. It's a smile as I anticipated. So now I'm just going to do menu 51. Menu 51 will almost always take you to the y-intercept. Sometimes it'll be off a little bit, but most of the time it's going to try to take you to the y-intercept. So I'm going to go to my paper and I'm going to say the y-intercept is 0, a -4. So got that. Now I go back. Now I am just going to use the arrow key and I'm just going to keep going until I hit. Here's one of the zeros. So one of my zeros is going to be 1, 0. And the other one looks like it's a -2, 0. So I can go to my paper and I can say a -2, 0. And I can say and 1, 0. Okay. So got the 2 zeros. Now go back to the calculator. Whoops. Not what I wanted. Go back to the calculator. Now, if I arrow back to the left, there's a y-intercept. Now it tells me the minimum. It tells me that the minimum is negative 0.5 and the y-intercept is a negative 4.5. So I can go to my paper and I can put that. I can put a negative 0.5 and then a negative 4.5. Now, as soon as I know the vertex, I also know the axis of symmetry. So I can say x equals a negative 0.5. Got that? And then this other coordinate, since it's a minimum and I want to find the range, that just means that the bottom of the graph is going to be at a negative 4.5. And it's going to go up to a positive infinity. So if I go back to the graph and look at it, you can see that the bottom is a negative 4.5. And when you're doing the range, you want the y values. Remember that. So it starts at a negative 4.5. And as you guys know, when it goes off the screen, that means it's going to infinity. Got it? Now, so we've got everything filled in. Now, the only thing we need to do is come up with a couple of points. So let's go back, get 5 points. I want you to try to use 5 points to plot and then you'll be done. Okay, so go back to the calculator. Now what I'm going to do, I can use menu 51 or I can use the table. So I'm going to do table Control T. I know that the axis or the vertex is a negative 0.5. So I'm going to try to go and find some points on the left and the right of this. So let's see. Yep, here we go. So you can see I got a -2, 0. So I can go, I already knew that. One of the points is a -2, 0. Let me get some other points. And then one of the points is 1, 0. If I go back to the table, I can see that a -1, -4, and 0, and -4 are gonna be 2 points on there. So let me get those two. So that's gonna be a -1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the other one was 0, -4. And I also know the y-intercept is like about here. So now this is not perfect, but now I can take and I can try to draw the best line I can. And there we have it. That's what I want you to do. Try to find 5 points, plot them. I could also use the symmetry of the graph. Remember that the axis of symmetry is going basically like right up here. And that's x equals a -0.5. You don't have to draw the axis of symmetry. I just did that to show you. But that's what you're doing. You're going to do that for the other 7. And then you're going to turn it in. I just need you to be able to identify the key features, know what they are. If I ask you for the axis of symmetry, if I ask you for the vertex, you guys should be able to answer that. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. All right. I'm going to sign off and post this.